Hi all, Brad Wright from the Single Malt Whisky Club here, and boy do we have a Firkin awesome month of whiskies for August. Our Malt of the Month is a Firkin Australian exclusive from whisky legend Mike Collins' Firkin Whisky Company. Our optional extra is a delectable dram for our sherry nuts from UK indie bottler Darkness. So first up, our Malt of the Month from the Firkin Whisky Company, the Teaninich 2009 Tawny Port. A bit of a unicorn really. Firstly, Teaninich single malt is pretty hard to find in any quantity as it mostly goes into Diageo blended scotches of varying brands. And secondly, to find one that's had the Firkin magic applied to it is, as the label suggests, rare. For those that don't know, Mike Collins has had 40 plus years in the whisky industry working with the giants. His accomplishments and the brands he has built are many, and many are household names. Johnny Walker Blue Label, Johnny Walker Green Label, the classic Malts of Scotland series, and more. All whiskies that Mike has conceptualised and brought to the market. As his bio says, Mike Collins has 40 years crafting outstanding whiskies to the world. The Firkin brand has seen Mike step away from the big companies and go it on his own. Now, the Firkin magic is a two-stage process. Firstly, they finish all their whiskies in specially coopered double oak casks. As the name suggests, this is a hybrid cask consisting of alternating first fill bourbon and new French oak staves. This gives the Firkin brand a bespoke oak profile that is totally Firkin unique. The second stage of the process is what Mike calls soulmate pairing. Mike matches each whiskey to a fortified wine he believes will bring out the best in that whiskey. These double wood casks are then filled with a selected soulmate and left for 6 months to season. The casks are then emptied out of the soulmate and then used to finish the whiskey for around 2 years, or when Mike deems them to be ready before bottling. Of course, being the Firkin fanatics of great whiskey that they are, all the Firkin range are non-chill filtered and non-coloured. Just Firkin great whiskey. So let's have a look at this lovely whiskey. Here it is. And as you can see, I hope, colour there is a dark yellow, burnt yellow maybe. But what's most important is how it tastes. On the nose. Yum. It's a fresh sort of tart apple juicy smell jumps out at first. And then a rounder, sweeter note comes through with ripe plums and vanilla. The palate, very crisp and clean mouthfeel. Little pepper, but no real heat. Lots of red fruit up front. Sweet plums, ripe red grapes. They morph into a sort of malty milk arrowroot biscuit flavour. The finish is very pleasing as well. The vanilla becomes more pronounced and swirls around, seeing all that red fruit out. Nice malty sweetness remains at the end. And you can chew on that while you pour the next one. And yes, you will pour a next one. This is a light yet complex dram. A bit of a Firkin enigma really. Dry and crisp yet sweet and juicy. Fruity yet malty. And the 48.9 gives it a sufficient kick but avoids the heat. Nicely balanced all round. Nice one, Mr. Collins. Now onto our optional extra. And this month it's the Darkness 12-year-old Glenrothes. Now Darkness is a relatively unknown brand here in Australia. A few of their expressions make it into the country in small amounts and they go out to sort of specially bottle those. The Darkness brand is all about sherry finished spirits. They take a more intense path with their finishing method. The Darkness signature is to finish their whiskies in small octave casks of around 65 litres or so for 3 months. The high surface to volume ratio of these casks sees an intense sherry injection into the whiskey in a short amount of time. So the Glenrothes 12-year-old has been aged for 12 years in bourbon at Glenrothes, which is a bit unusual in itself for Glenrothes, as they normally age in sherry casks. Then it's been finished in the Darkness octave casks for around 3 months, and then bottled at a cask strength of 56.6% ABV. And the result, well, let's have a look, shall we? As you can see, the colour, nothing spectacular about the colour. It's a pleasant sort of orangey yellow. But on the nose, oh, yum. On the nose, it's cherry, coconut and chocolate on the nose. A real cherry ripe going on here for me. And the palate, lovely viscous mouthfeel with a white pepper explosion at first, but the fruit shines through right after. Big stewed prunes, more cherry and biscuit spices with a bit of a nutty backbone there as well. And the finish, there's a ginger marmalade kick in the tail, and those cherry ripe notes reappear as it fades. This is a complex and easy to sit on and chat about dram, if you know what I mean. Big and warming. At nearly 60% ABV, this is a cask strength sherry bomb that definitely won't have you ducking for cover. That big 58.9% ABV really pushes those stewed fruit flavours forward. It's a big, rich and contemplative whiskey that's perfectly suited to these cold winter nights. Well, that's August. Peak cold in Australia, and we have got you covered with a couple of lovely whiskies that will warm the coldest of nights. Our malt of the month is the Firkin Teaninich 2009 Tawny Port, a bit of a Firkin unicorn really, and our extra, the Darkness 12-year-old Glenrothes, a sherry supercharged sensation. So that's it for me for the month. I'll see you next month. In the meantime, choose one, choose both. I'll be getting both of our fantastic August whiskies from the Single Malt Whisky Club. Until September, I'm Brad Wright. Slant your